Everybody, welcome back to the channel, guys. So, of course, few days out of the weekend, Spider-Man Brand New Day doing what it's doing at the box office, making tons of money. People are watching it, people are loving it, and I think it really shows. People have been talking about, superhero fatigue, superhero fatigue. I think that this example over the weekend shows that there is no superhero fatigue. We're just fatigued from the type of superhero stories you've been trying to give us, you know? And so, in this video, guys, I'm going to go ahead and be ranking all the live action Spider Man movies from worst to first. I'm only going with the live action. I'm not going to go ahead and incorporate, the Into the Spider Verse um, trilogy, or I guess you could say, because those movies are going to be up towards the top here. But I'm going to do live action Spider Mans, Tom Holland Spider Man, Andrew Garfield's, as well as Tobey Maguire's here. So let's go ahead and get started. And then, of course, follow me along in the comments and let me hear your guys' thoughts. So, starting with number 9, I'm going to go with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There were elements of this movie that I did enjoy. I thought Andrew Garfield gave us one of the best performances as Spider-Man Peter Parker. However, everything around Andrew Garfield just did not fall into place. It was very convoluted. There was too many storylines going, as well as the way that they almost changed a lot of Peter Parker's story in those, and of course the origin, how he got his powers, and all of that, right? So those Amazing Spider-Man movies really, but this one in particular, it was a very long movie, and there were some really cool parts, right? Like the part in New York City with him and Electro. There's some good parts there, but it just became such a mess towards the end, and it just did not work. And I understand they were trying to set up like a Sinister Six type of deal. It just did not work out. And unfortunately for Andrew Garfield, he did not get his trilogy. And it's just because the two movies that he played in just did not work. Maybe it was a little too soon, right? But that is, of course, my number 9. Number 8, I have is Spider-Man 3. And this is with Tobey Maguire. Now, I don't necessarily hate this movie, but it was not a very satisfying trilogy for what we got for Tobey, because the first one being a great movie, the second one probably being one of the best Spider-Man movies, right? If not the best. You're going to find out here very soon. And the third one another same thing with Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just got too convoluted, right? Too many villains, too many different storylines working into each other, and it just really just made for not necessarily like a satisfying ending to a trilogy. Um, and there's some stuff behind the scenes. I know, like I think that Sam Raimi didn't want to use Venom in the movie. So there was a lot of choices that were made that just didn't work out in Spider-Man 3. Not knocking any of the performances. The actors did what they needed to do. Topher Grace as Venom was kind of weird, but but overall, Spider-Man 3, I have this number 8 on the list. I'm going to start with, it's going to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man Far From Home. I don't necessarily hate this movie. I just think it's kind of going to be one of the most forgettable Spider-Man movies. Uh, Mysterio was the bad guy. Jake Gyllenhaal absolutely killed the role. He does great anything he does, really. But this movie in itself, I just necessarily didn't really enjoy it that much, if I'm being honest. Now, there's parts of it that I did like, but I think it's definitely the weakest of the Tom Holland movies for sure. Um, and it was too kiddie. It was too, I don't know. I was not necessarily a fan of this movie. The performances were great, sure, yeah, and there was elements of it. A lot of it was, the missing of Tony Stark, and there was a lot of that in this story, and that was the whole, you know, motivation behind Mysterio was, of course, to, you know, compete with Iron Man in a sense, be the next Iron Man, I guess you can say. So it was interesting. It didn't fit to the Spider-Man story of Mysterio, but it worked for what they were trying to do, and it was still an enjoyable movie. But overall, I think it falls down towards the bottom of this list. And so, of course, at number 7, I have As Far From Home. Number 6, I'm going to go with The Amazing Spider-Man 1. And like I said, the Andrew Garfield movies, he did a great job as Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is easily the best actor of all the three, right? So, of course, he of course, embodied that role probably better than anybody. But, however, The Amazing Spider-Man, the origin story was just absolutely awful. It was like he's the chosen one type of deal, and I was like, what's the deal? That's not it. You know what I mean? It's really a simple thing. Boy gets bit by a radioactive spider, gets powers, but this one, it was like his parents implemented. It was only done with the Parker DNA, and it was just like, and it was just not a very good origin story, right? And then we, of course, we got the Lizard. I thought was a fair villain to kind of do live action. I thought it was something different. And, it was also a very popular Spider-Man villain. And so, and then, of course, what's his name? Rhys Ifrin, the guy from House of Dragons. He is great as the Doctor, as Dr. Connors in that movie. Now, I didn't like the way the suit looked in Amazing Spider-Man 1. The performances were great. And the whole deal with, Gwen Stacy's father, I wasn't a fan of that particular storyline. And it was a good entry to get us back having another live action Spider-Man, but it's definitely going to fall down towards this on the list here. Now, number 5, this is where we're getting into the top 5 here. Number 5 I have is Homecoming. Now, this was Tom Holland's first movie as Spider-Man, not his first appearance. Tom Holland's, story has been spanned out throughout this entire universe, necessarily with him showing up first in Civil War, and him also showing up in Endgame and Infinity Wars, and etc., etc. But Homecoming was his first live-action movie. And for what they did, I like the idea of Vulture as the villain. I thought that was really cool. Vulture was always one of my favorite villains in the comics, as well as even the one of my favorite TV shows of all time, the Amazing Spider-Man TV series. Vulture was a big villain, and I was so happy that they were going to use him in the live action for the first time. I mean, you got Michael Keaton, one of the better actors out there, is going to be portraying him. And there was elements of this movie that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed Vulture very much. I do enjoy Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man. He does a great job. But it's just too kiddie for me, and that's kind of what my knock on some of the Tom Holland movies have been, very kiddish, and I get it. He's a teenager, sure, but it did feel very immature in a sense, those movies. And then now going to, of course, number 4. I'm going to go with No Way Home. I think No Way Home falls number 4. I think it's a good spot for it on this list. I enjoyed the movie very much. It was great to see Andrew back as Spider-Man. It was great to see Tobey back as Spider-Man. The whole deal with the villains, of course, Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin again was fantastic. You also had, Alfred Molina coming back as Dr. Rock, Jamie Foxx as Electro. They changed him up a little bit. You have Thomas Hayden Church coming back as Sandman. For what it was a really good movie, and it was nostalgia bait at its finest. And you know what? I'll take it. All right, I'll take the nostalgia bait all day. Especially when it came to this movie, I thought they did a really good job incorporating it all, and then the way it, of course, transpired at the end, kind of leaving it to like a tragedy, bittersweet type of ending there. And this movie was actually kind of the Tom Holland's Peter Parker origin story, with the whole deal with Aunt May. This just transformed him, of course, to being the Spider-Man we're accustomed to. And so there was elements of this movie I thought were just world-boggling, man. And Doctor Strange being incorporated in it, the action in it was awesome. But the more you watch it, you understand it was nothing but nostalgia bait, but it was good nostalgia bait, and it does go up towards the top of the list based on the Spider-Man movies we've gotten. Definitely, I would rank it above all the rest of them. Now we're going to number 3. Now, the top 3, this makes it hard for me because I grew up in the era where I watched the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie in theaters the day it came out. Every Tobey Maguire movie I seen in the theaters, literally that weekend it came out, right? I absolutely that was my era of Spider-Man, right? Well, number 3 I have on this list, I'm gonna go with Spider-Man 1. The best origin story of the live-action Spider-Mans that we have gotten, it is stuck straight to the comic, man. Simple as can be. Got bitten by a spider. And then you got Harry Osborn, Green Goblin. I mean, it felt the most Spider-Man, I guess you can say, when it comes to, comic book. Yeah, sure, some of the acting, the melodramatic stuff, of course, that was just the era. And Tobey Maguire was fine as Spider-Man. He did a great job, but the whole thing with Flash Gordon, Flash in high school with them fighting. I mean, it was crafted so well. And it was done so good, man. I enjoyed the first Spider-Man very much, and I'll still watch it to this day. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is just awesome, man. And the fight scene at the end is so awesome. It's classic, man. It'll probably be the most rewatch. It's probably the most rewatched out of the ones on this list. Even though it might not be I think is the top Spider movie, but it's probably the most rewatched one. If I'm being honest with you, it's just you can watch it anytime, any year. You can watch it 20 years from now. You can watch it today. I mean, it's still good, great freaking movie, man. The natural webs. I mean, they just did such a great job with it. And it was our first time getting Spider-Man live action on the screen, and Sam Raimi nailed it, man. Nailed it. Now, this is very tough for me. This is very, very, very tough. But number 2 on my list, I'm going to go with Brand New Day. I had a tough time with this one here because Brand New Day, I love the Brand New Day. Now, I have some nitpicks with Brand New Day, don't get me wrong. But I think it captured Spider-Man extremely well. Tom Holland, it was a much more mature Spider-Man. We're starting to really get, the Peter Parker kind of living with the truth by himself, and kind of having to not give fully himself in all of his relationships. The one nitpick I do have, I'm kind of tired of the whole Ned and MJ type of storyline. I wish they kind of just would move past it, maybe come back to it later on, but just kind of move past it and allow Tom Holland to just kind of flourish and enjoy some other storylines because there's so many Spider-Man stories to tell. And I thought it was very interesting and very unconventional to go with Jean Grey as the villain. Very, very interesting. When they were writing it, I kind of want to know what went through their mind there, but I thought it was executed very well. I thought the incorporation of Jean Grey did a great job. But however, this movie, it hit the mark, man. When it comes to the action sequences, when it comes to the portrayal of Spider-Man, Tom Holland is at its best here. The movie is at its best. The action is at its best. It captured Spider-Man so well. I love the incorporation of all the villains. And then, of course, the scene with the Hulk and then the incorporation of Punisher. It felt so comic booky. I absolutely loved it. And to be honest, I think it solidified Tom Holland as probably the best Spider-Man that we have gotten. He is this generation's Spider-Man. I can't see anybody else playing him for the near future. And so this was honestly Tom Holland's best movie that he's done as Spider-Man. It is getting back to the comics, eliminating the kid element of it all. And I enjoyed every minute of it. I watched it again last night. Such a great movie. Such a great movie. Now, number 1 on the list, I wanted to put Brand New Day number 1. That's one of the reasons why I went and watched it for a third time. I wanted to put Brand New Day at number 1, but still, The number one on the list for greatest live action Spider-Man movie has to go to Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 continued what Raimi did in the first one and just really stuck the landing when it comes to the Doc Ock, Harry trying to figure out who killed his father. I mean, just so many different things that went on in this movie. Spider-Man decided he didn't want to be Spider-Man no more. I mean, it was just so many great things in this movie. And it just, still the best Spider-Man moments of any movie probably fall in lines with this one here. That train sequence, I think it beats every Spider-Man scene that has ever came before it. Let's just be honest. That train scene, and you can see them, they tried to emulate something like that. They just did something in Brand New Day where he moves the car, so it didn't hit necessarily the tour bus. So they always try to do that. But man, that sequence was adrenaline rush after adrenaline rush, man, and it was executed so well, man, and I absolutely loved Spider-Man 2. I just watched it again like a couple weeks ago. It's still top shelf, man. Even though Tom Holland I think is the best Spider-Man, embraces Spider-Man the best, and then Andrew Garfield probably give him one of the best performances as Peter Parker. The movie, Tobey might have been the worst actor of the three, but the movie itself worked around Tobey, and it was done magnificently. I love Spider-Man 2. I still think it's number one on the list, but I can't wait to see where they're going with Tom Holland. If this is, I hope this is a start of something new, a brand new day, right? I can't wait to see the other stories that they're going to continue, and if they can match the energy from what they did with Brand New Day, and they continue on bringing it back a little bit more traditional to Spider-Man. I'm pumped for it. I am absolutely pumped, and I can't wait. Hopefully they incorporate Kingpin, Daredevil. I would absolutely love to see this all. We already know we're going to probably get more X-Men joining in with Spider-Man at times, in the future. But, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of Spider-Man. But, guys, this is my rankings, man. 9-1. Just to run through them again. Number 9, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 8, we're going to go with Spider-Man 3. Number 7, we're going to go with Far From Home. Number 6, we're going to go with The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 5, I'm going with Homecoming. Number 4, No Way Home. Number 3, we're going to go with the first Spider-Man, the original, the OG. Number 2 is going to be Brand New Day. And then number 1, I still think it sits above them all, and that's Spider-Man 2. But let me know what you guys think of my rankings down below. What do you think? Are you a fan of these movies here? Which one do you think is the best? How would you rank these live-action Spider-Mans? Let me hear your guys' thoughts down below.